In the bustling streets of urban life, where food stalls garnish the sidewalks and the common man savors the charm of simplicity, there lay an unsuspected narrative unbeknownst to Kalpana, a sprightly ad actress. Little did she anticipate that the man sharing a modest meal with her by the roadside was none other than Sanjay Singhania, a business titan and one of the wealthiest tycoons, who built the Singhania group of industries from the ground up. It seemed as though destiny had penned yet another Cinderella tale. However, who could possibly predict that their fleeting, tragically beautiful romance would spiral into a dark odyssey that transformed our leading man into an avenger consumed by a quest for retribution. Sanjay Singhania, the self-made magnate with a mind as sharp as steel, sculpted the company into a colossus of the industry. Admired in silence by many affluent daughters, Singhania remained an enigma, his true countenance known to but a few. Kalpana toiled as a small-time actress in an advertising agency teetering on bankruptcy. Life was a tough act to keep up with, and on this day, as a proposition for demolition came from Singhania's underlings, it was misinterpreted as a grand gesture of marriage by eavesdroppers outside the door. The company's boss, with persuasive urgency, appealed to Kalpana to acquiesce to Sanjay's pursuit for the sake of the business's survival. Witnessing her usually cantankerous employer don a facade of pleasantry, and her colleagues' newfound reverence, Kalpana saw the winds shift favorably and played along with the ruse, feigning a blooming romance with Sanjay. The agency fizzed with effervescent gossip. Forging a favorable bond with the presumed future Mrs. Singhania could propel one's career to illustrious heights. Swiftly seizing the momentum, her employer showered her with premier ads, personal attentiveness, and orchestrated interviews with the press to elevate the company's profile. Actress Kalpana, with an artist's flair, spun exaggerated tales of a relentless tycoon wooing her with dogged affection. She spun a yarn of a chance encounter at the airport, where Sanjay's gaze found her and pursued her ardently aboard a plane. Yet she remained impervious to his advances, her heart undisturbed. Unbeknownst to her, the story concocted spiraled into virality. Sanjay, witnessing the disrepute cast upon his image, was incensed. He was resolute on confronting the bearer of slander. In a display of indignant affluence, Sanjay stormed out with his convoy of luxury, set to chasten his rumored companion. At a crossroad, he encountered a girl of unique mettle. Witnessing a group of disabled children hindered by a sewer gate, she innovated swiftly, pushing a metal gate to create a makeshift bridge. It was in this unscripted moment that Sanjay felt the stirrings of affection, a candid smile gracing his usually stoic features. Her wit and warmth, her ingenuity and generosity, had a magic all their own, utterly disarming to a man inundated by the affectations of high society. Yet as the girl disappeared into the distance, the shadows reclaimed Sanjay's visage. Today, he vowed, the fabricator of rumors would pay a profound toll. With an intent to avoid a spectacle, Sanjay instructed his guards to stay behind as he advanced alone. Kalpana had become the belle of the ball within the company walls, swamped with interviews and contracts. Sanjay effortlessly located her amid the hive of activity, but upon seeing her, he faltered. Was this not the same compassionate soul he encountered by the road? Surely there had been a mistake. Yet as he broached the topic of the scandalous article, Kalpana mistook him for yet another small-time actor, desperate for her recommendation. With dramatic vibrance, she recounted once more the fictitious saga of Sanjay's pursuit, an act marinated in derision. After her performance, she earnestly coached Sanjay on the nuances of captivating advertisement. All while the flames of Singhania's fury were scattered to the winds, in an unexpected turn, he found himself humoring her, leaving behind his contact details for a supposed audition. As yet another inquisitive journalist phoned, Kalpana leapt at the chance to narrate her love affair once more. Sanjay, bemused by her elaborate falsehoods, found his smile return unabashedly. Days later, amidst an international interview, a call from Kalpana emerged, proposing a ludicrous opportunity, an underwear advertisement. The notion was ludicrous, yet there was Sanjay, accepting the invitation and journeying in an auto rickshaw, all to not disappoint such an endearing girl. Kalpana shared her hard-earned victory, envisioning streets plastered with the spectacle, much to Sanjay's conflicted emotions. Mulling over his rejection speech, he watched as she drifted away to aid a blind elder. Sanjay was magnetized. From the kindness she radiated to the unstudied grace with which she maneuvered life, everything about Kalpana charmed him to his core. In the days to follow, Sanjay indulged in a series of firsts, savoring street-side eats, bargaining in marketplaces, visiting orphanages, even drinking coffee from saucers. And in these shared experiences, Sanjay found himself irretrievably in love. He treasured this pure-hearted bond, wishing to shield it from any tarnish. Trouble was never far, however. Kalpana thrived under the impression of being the magnate's fiancé, until the day her boss proposed hosting a charity gala with Sanjay as the guest of honor. As reality teetered on the precipice, her boss nonchalantly mentioned that Sanjay had recently returned from the States, unseen by his peers. Steeled with resolve, Kalpana agreed, hatching a plan to procure an actor to masquerade as Sanjay. But the heirs of an enigmatic billionaire are not so easily feigned, and just when despair set in, the real Sanjay presented himself at her door. Kalpana, desperate to gauge his recognition, introduced him to her fiancé indoors. Sanjay played along, feigning ignorance and inquiring about his own whereabouts. Seeing through the subpar deception, Kalpana realized the impossibility of duping the discerning elites and reprimanded the actor with aggravation. Embracing desperation, Kalpana confessed her fabrication. She knew not of Sanjay Singhania, nor did she harbor affections for a wealthy suitor. She was merely caught in a web of misunderstanding, swept along by an unfounded belief. Upon feeling the crestfallen spirit of Kalpana, Sanjay offered solace, even attempting to show this perplexed mule the ropes of acting presidential. It was then that the idea struck her. She insisted he don the garb of wealth, a suit and shades, and just like that, the charade of the Tycoon came alive. Kalpana, overwhelmed, teetered on the brink of tears. On the night of the charitable soiree, Sanjay entered the scene in a flamboyant fashion, seated in the luxury his status deserved. Yet, Kalpana fretted over the rental's cost, wondering at the expense of such grandeur even for a day. The elites and heiresses quickly swarmed Sanjay, eager to raise their social stock. He navigated the swarm with a smile, his every move suffused with a natural elegance that took Kalpana by surprise. She mused, had he sought the screen, he'd give leading men a run for their Oscars. A kiss on her forehead, his arm firmly over her shoulders, Sanjay kept her close, and this intimacy sent ripples through Kalpana. Bereft of such closeness with any man, she found humor in the subservience of her own boss. Astoundingly, when approached for donations, Sanjay nonchalantly penned a check of 500,000 rupees, sending shocks through Kalpana's veins. She suspected a setup, a hired accomplice in the philanthropic facade. On their way back, she bubbled with excitement, marveling at their ruse's success. But amidst the thrill, Sanjay, with a gaze that bore his deepest truths, professed his love, extending an offer of marriage. Kalpana, unversed in the dances of love and alien to the concept of matrimony, held her response. Silent was Sanjay's vow. Only if she accepted would he unveil his identity. If her heart found no echo of his sentiments, then he'd vanish, a phantom sparing her the complexities his truth might bring. After a night awash with contemplation, Kalpana's answer drifted in at dawn. She was willing. Elation sparked within Sanjay, ready now to disclose everything. But Kalpana paused, resolving not to marry until she could afford 3 ambassador cars. A benchmark not of material longing, but of her aspirations, her drive for self-reliance. Her independence was not for sale. Sanjay's affections only deepened, yet he couldn't bear to see her in squalor. A lottery was staged, and a luxurious house gifted to Kalpana. Meanwhile, she sold all her jewelry, the proceeds going towards her first car. It wasn't a barrier to marriage but a testament to her love for Sanjay, an assurance that her heart matched his in its fervor. Fortune seemed to smile upon her, never expecting to win such a lavish prize. She beckoned Sanjay to witness this new chapter, and together they imprinted their first step on the threshold, a promise of unwavering companionship, of love enduring till their hairs grayed into twilight. In the midst of elation, Sanjay, shadowed by unspoken truths, mentioned a sudden illness of his mother in the village, a ruse for an impending overseas business trip. Parting with naught but an excuse, he didn't foresee the parting gift Kalpana would present, her savings, entrusted to him for his mother's cure. In this act, she conquered him entirely. Her trust demanded his unwavering devotion. Little did they know, this parting was not merely temporary, it was their final farewell. Who am I? Where am I? These questions tormented Sanjay as he approached a mirror. Below it, a note urged him to remove his shirt. Complying, he slowly lifted his garment, only to confront the harrowing words inked into his flesh. Revenge! Kalpana was killed. Find Gajini. Kill him. A paroxysm of sorrow and rage seized him. It was a cruel twist of fate. He couldn't recall who Kalpana was, only sensing she was the most significant person in his life. During Sanjay's absence, Kalpana became an unwitting heroine on a train, rescuing a group of kidnapped children. They were escorted to safety, but her act caught the malevolent eye of a human trafficking ringleader. A warning call from a policewoman sent chills down her spine. Assassins were on her trail. Panicked, she concealed herself within a closet as the villains ransacked her home. Upon Sanjay's return, bouquet in hand, his knocks went unanswered. Kalpana's despair rekindled hope enough to risk a clandestine call to him. Unfortunately, his phone was left charging in the car. The assailants departed, unable to locate her. Receiving her message, Sanjay hurried to contact Kalpana, grasping the gravity of her peril. However, the assailants, lurkers nearby, stormed back upon hearing the commotion. Bursting through the door, Sanjay discovered Kalpana, speechless, collapsing into his arms, her last vestiges of strength urging him to flee. That's when he noticed, to his horror, her body bore the mark of a grievous stab wound. A gang of felons emerged, led by the sinister Gajini himself, who struck Sanjay unaware from behind. As Gajini menacingly approached Kalpana, Sanjay, drained of all strength, was engulfed in despair unheard of, his sanity fraying at the edges, his urge for vengeance against these butchers consuming him. Yet, the assault on Sanjay did not cease. A cruel blow to the head rendered him unconscious. Miraculously, he survived, but at a dire cost, afflicted with short-term memory loss, a condition that obliterated his memories every 15 minutes. Desperate to hang onto the fragments of his life with Kalpana and the storm of vengeance brewing within, Sanjay resorted to a web of notes and tattoos as his memory's custodians. Time, however, proved a ruthless thief, erasing what little memory lingered. Unless prompted by the tattoos ensnaring his body, his past, his very purpose evaded him. Driven by an undying thirst for retribution, Sanjay honed himself physically, but the emotional agony remained unassuaged. Once a dignified magnate, he was now a specter haunted by the quest for vengeance, capturing Gajini's close associates, yet forgetting the why of his own actions, drawing the authorities ever closer in his wake. Enter Sunita, a medical student, whose discovery of Sanjay's condition led her to a house shrouded in the gore of his revenge. The sight of a home strewn with blood, intertwined with the echoes of vengeance, left her reeling. A startling encounter with a lurking police officer, outmatched by Sanjay, led to a frenetic flight when Sanjay, the hunter transformed into a relentless beast, chased them down. As Gajini realized Sanjay's persistence despite his afflictions, he plotted anew. Capturing Sanjay, he aimed to erase every trace of his vendetta, transforming him into a mindless weapon under his control. Fortune favored Sanjay when Sunita stumbled upon diaries chronicling his life with Kalpana and her brutal demise. Reigniting the smoldering ashes of his vendetta, Sanjay, distrustful of all but his singular mission, stormed Gajini's fortress, his skill and wrath overwhelming every obstacle, until he stood before Gajini. Memory momentarily restored by a cruel reenactment of Kalpana's murder. A torrent of remembered grief and rage empowered Sanjay, propelling him to exact a brutal retribution on Gajini, avenging Kalpana in kind. Yet the victory was Pyrrhic, his heart heavier, his tears a testament to a love lost. If wishes were real, he'd choose a humble existence at Kalpana's side over any luxury, to cherish each day with her. Time passed, and recovery glimpsed through the horizon. Sanjay, now a beacon of philanthropy, honored Kalpana's memory through the Kalpana Home for Orphans, her goodness living on. A gift from Sunita, footprints cast with Kalpana, stirred deep memories, a fleeting comfort in his solitude. Though her absence was palpable, for a moment, Sanjay allowed himself the illusion of her presence, a bittersweet solace amidst reality's harshness. And so goes the tale of Sanjay and Kalpana, a love as beautiful as the setting sun, its brilliance ephemeral yet unforgettable. Such is life, a fleeting dance in the autumn breeze. This concludes our tale for today. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to follow for more. Thank you.